Hey, good evening, everybody. How you doing? All right, let's get the housekeeping out of the way here. Make sure everything sounds good. Let's see here. Always takes it a minute to find the video. It's not even popped up yet. Huh. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm late getting on. Had some technical difficulties with StreamYard, so I'm trying to figure that out, and it finally went. I don't know what it needed, but it was not letting me make a live stream, so I don't know what that was about. But we're up and live now. I don't know. Let me make sure the audio is working here because I've got to. Looks like somebody's found it. I don't know how to get to it. Just want to make sure everything's working here. So make sure that's good. Boy, this is driving me crazy tonight. I can't get anything to work. There we go. Okay. No. Are we on? There it is. Okay. All right. Hopefully you're still with me here. Give me a minute. Yep. Okay, we're live. Okay, top couple topics I'm going to go over with you tonight. We're going to go through this quick Sony Alpha rumors again. I haven't been back in there this week, so kind of a normal thing for me. Let me go ahead and hop in. I didn't get a chance to review them today, so I've been sick all weekend, and that's why I sound probably a little weird because just been kind of a crap weekend for me. I actually wasn't feeling well today. I'm finally starting to feel better, but it's I'm just all congested, and I think it's an allergy thing. But it was weird deal. Never ran a fever or anything like that, but just wasn't feeling right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get this fixed. Let me share this screen. We'll go through the alpha rumors real quick while we wait for some people to show up. All right, so Sony officially registered a new camera in China, and yes, I'm sure it's the new ZVE10 Mark II. Let's see what we got here. FX65. What's this? Next Gen X cameras. Not sure exactly how to decipher this one. Last day for Amazon savings. Sony just announced a new 247 megapixel medium format sensor. The full details on the new 247 megapixel medium format sensor. The sensor is meant for industrial use, so it's not clear if it can be used in regular cameras too. Yeah, it's a medium format, 35.97 by 53.96. 5 frames a second. Color and monochrome. I see this like a high-end security camera stuff where they can zoom in really far on the sensor and have high resolutions. Or industrial. I think they have an industrial like inspection. Also, they use them for. So that's interesting. Segment 51.2 announcement within hours and soon after new A1 A7S3 firmware update. I don't know. Did Sony actually announce what was the date on this? This is today, so I don't know if Sony. I haven't seen an announcement come out that they updated the firmware yet. It's out. Voigtlander 50mm f1.0 aspherical E-mount lens, $1,900 for a Voigtlander Nocton. European Super Sale, March 27th, 28th. So Tuesday, what is that? It's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. We should see the update for the A1 and A7S3. All right. Well, Let's make sure we got nothing. Right. Dynamic range measured by photons to photos. Sony A9 III is surprisingly good. Except that the base ISO 100 and the ISO 8000 A9 is more or less than par with the previous A9 II in terms of dynamic range. It also beats the Nikon Z8 at any ISO except, again, base ISO and ISO 800. The Sony A7R5 is the dynamic range king, but from the ISO 800, A7R5 and the A9 III perform the same. Base ISO is 250 due to low full well capacity. High conversion gain is available from ISO 800. Maximum PDR is quite good considering the base ISO settings. Wild rumor about the firmware update. Just about the release date, so we're pretty close to that now. So the A9 III review the photographer. Those 24 to 70 f2 specs are fake. If you happen to read those info, know that these are completely made up by the author of this rumor. So I repeat, the 2470 f2 info you see now is fake. What's real is that Sony will announce in April 16, 17, and we'll get the 16 to 25 f2.8G. As usual, we'll soon copy without credit me. Interesting. Sony product announcements on April 16th and 17th. So we're going to see a new Sony lens, 16 to 25 f2.8. It's a narrow zoom range. I mean, it's a great vlogging lens, I suppose. Rumored to be announced within the next 2 to 3 months is the Sony Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, the 85 f1.4 GM Mark II, the Sony 2470 f2, which is now fake, another E-mount lens, special specs yet not known. New Viltrox 135 f1.8 FE lens will be announced at the NAB show in mid-April. Sony announced a paid customization service for the A9 Mark III. Sony Japan announced this unusual service. Don't know if this will be extended to all other countries too. Here's Google Translate text. Information on digital single lens A9 III paid customization service. Thank you for using your Sony products. We will begin offering a paid customization service to adjust the release stroke for the digital single lens camera A9 III and A9 III compatible vertical grip VGC5. Target production models. So you'll be able to customize the digital single lens. Only full press release can be selected from 2 levels, default, state, and shallow. Vertical position grip, only a full press release can be selected from the 2 levels, default, state, or shallow. Full details and customization service, please refer to the support page. Customization fee is 14,000 yen on each, both the camera and the grip. Interesting. Well, I don't see much else going on in the way of Sony news. Looks like we got to the most of it. You can pre-order this F10 Voigtlander. Definitely new product in April. We're kind of getting back on top of stuff now, so we'll move forward on this. All right. Yeah, I may be going on mute here every now and then just because I'm going to have to sneeze or cough or one of the two. So I always feel like I have to. It's like I'll do my best not to, but I'm sure there'll be the moments I'll have to do one of those two things. Yeah, we had some nasty wind the last 3 days here, and it's just been pounding us. And I was actually at work Saturday and outside, and me and my wife both were working together, and man, that wind came in and got us, and it just both knocked us on our feet that night. Like massive head colds, and uh, that we get the temperature mood, the swings, like the hot cold feeling, but no fevers. And yeah, it just beat us up. So yeah, we're still feeling the effects of it. We're getting over it. We felt a lot better today, but we went out this evening to go, uh, go do some errands and run some stuff around that we needed to do, and it's just seemed like it didn't help any. So hopefully tonight is a good night of sleep, and we'll be back up and running tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. Um, so to get into today's topic, we got a couple things we want to talk about. First, I don't know if you guys have noticed if you're uploading content to YouTube, but this week when I uploaded today's video, I had a new selection for altered content. And I had to disclose whether or not I had altered content in my video. So I had to research what all that was, and then I had to also found out my dad had a video up on his channel that got warned for this altered content, as I think well as put on notice for being filmed in a national park. So we deleted the video right away, but um, curious to see what all that means. I figured tonight would be a good topic to discuss that. So let me pull up this altered content thing. YouTube. All right, let me put this on the screen here. Excuse me. All right, so for now on, when you upload a video, you'll have another checkbox you've got to fill out. They keep adding them. It seems like one or two a year get added since I've been doing YouTube over the last 5 years. Um, but yeah, we've got another thing we've got to look out for, and this is disclosing use of altered or synthetic content. Now, what does that mean in a video if you upload it? Ultimately, they want you to disclose the use of AI or totally fake images that appear real. Um, and where does that line get drawn? This document out of Google's policies, kind of help describe that. So that's why I'm just showing you right from the source. Um, So, disclosing the use of altered or synthetic content, we encourage creators to innovate and responsibly use the content editing and generation tools at the same time. We recognize that viewers want to know if they are watching or listening to is real. So, obviously, I think with social media these days and the topics of, well, they call them the sensitive topics, which we won't get into, but uh, I think, the big ones, obviously, politics. But you have to actually put in and say if you're altering the footage any to make it look real when it is in fact fully altered or fully digitally synthesized. And also, like with audio, if you're making a celebrity or somebody that's well known say something through AI that isn't true, that didn't really happen, you have to disclose that. Now, I'm all for that disclosure on that stuff. The question I had is one, when I found out about this was when my dad's video got flagged, and he pulled it down because he just didn't want to deal with it. But what's concerning is that where did they get his video flagged from? This is what I wanted to know: was where did it get flagged at? Was it because there was two key points to his video? One, it was about a national park, and there was footage from the national park, and he did alter some of that footage from the national park just as a goof with the friends to see if anybody would notice. Put in some fake stuff as he's practicing and learning DaVinci Resolve and what it can do. It wasn't AI generated. It wasn't manipulated to be fake. It was just meant to be, a fictional goof. But it got flagged for this altered thing that had to be checkmarked yes or no. And when he told me about it, I had never heard of this until I went to upload my video on Saturday when I was doing the final upload onto YouTube for it. That I saw that's a new option when you post a video. You got to declare whether or not it's altered or not. So me just recording like this and talking about a product isn't altered. This is all legit, real, 100% raw. No matter if I edit it, I title it, do all that, that's all okay. Color grading and color changing is okay. But we'll get into some of that as we go down here. To help keep viewers informed about the content they're viewing, we require creators to disclose content that is meaningfully altered or synthetically generated when it seems realistic. Creators must disclose content that makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't do, alters footage of a real event or place, generates a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. Okay, so um, I've heard of this one. I've never seen it, but I think there was an AI generated bot that made a whole YouTube channel and made their own content and was became quite the following, but nobody knew it was actually just an AI generation. So that kind of stuff, you'd have to disclose it. Um, I don't know the validity of any of that what I just said, but that's just what I've heard through the news rumors, all that I've read. I've never didn't care enough to research it myself. This could include content that is fully or partially altered or created using audio, video, or image creations or editing tools. So, I mean, with that statement right there, it basically says if you put out a video and you edit it, um, you could potentially say it's altered content. It's not live raw content. So, do you have to alter that, or do you have to specify that it's altered for just editing a video or making audio track dubs or messing with the audio the way it actually sounded, but it's still the same words? Let's go a little further. Disclosing use the altered content setting on the YouTube Studio. To disclose content that is meaningful, altered, or synthetically generated, the altered content setting is available to creators using YouTube Studio on a computer. We expect this setting to other we expect this setting to see other devices, the YouTube apps in the future. So right now, you're only seeing this if you upload from the computer. After a creator selects a field and uploads content, a label will appear in their video's expanded description. This label will appear to viewers using the YouTube app on a phone or a tablet for now, but will show on other devices in the future. If they make a YouTube short that uses one of the YouTube's generative artificial intelligence AI effects, such as YouTube's Dream Track or Dream Screen, no additional steps are needed to disclose currently. The tool will automatically disclose the use of AI for creators. Examples of altered synthetic content. The following list includes examples of altered or synthetic content. Altered or synthetic content can include content that is fully or partially altered or created using any audio, video, images creation, or editing tools. Realistic content, meaningful changes require disclosure, while unrealistic or minor edits don't. Keep in mind this isn't a complete list. All right, so let me get down here and scroll the screen. Examples of altered or synthetic content. So this doesn't require disclosure by creators. Applying beauty filters, synthetically generating or extending a backdrop to simulate a moving car. So if you're filming a movie and you have a car scene where you have a backdrop that has a picture showing the car driving, they're saying that you don't have to disclose. Using effects to enhance previously recorded audio. So again, using the audio tracks in the video to enhance the audio, the vocal track, or anything like that, you don't have to disclose it. Using an AI generated animation of a missile in a video, you don't have to do. This is where it's going to become quite the gray line. Is I could say, hey, I went out to a Texas field today and I filmed this video of a missile taking off the ground. Uh, I could do that for entertainment purposes, and it says using an AI generated animation of that missile. So if I had the missile created by animation in the video, I don't need to disclose it. Does it require disclosure? But we'll get to the next point of it here. These topics do require disclosure of the creators, showing a realistic description of a missile fired toward a real city. So if I take that same picture and I put Dallas, Texas in there, they're saying I have to disclose that that's a fake image. Digitally generating or altering content to replace the face of an individual with another's. So I can't do any kind of like face off to another person or anything like that. Um, in my videos. I can't make myself look like somebody else. I can't do anything of that nature without disclosing. Doesn't say you can't do it. You just got to disclose it if you do. Digitally altering a famous car chase scene to include a celebrity who wasn't in the original movie. Okay, so um, like I said, you don't doesn't say you can't do these things. It just says you have to disclose it. So if you have I guess if you took a movie clip from something that had some one actor and you change it to another, you'd have to disclose that. Simulating audio to make it sound as if a medical professional gave advice when the professional did not actually give that advice. That you're going to have to also disclose. You got to tell them when basically somebody's you're goofing or you're telling somebody in a YouTube video that hey, this is what this guy said. This doctor, as an example, they're using for a medical. These dang thumb things. Um, you know, they say something real, but they didn't actually give that advice, or it's paid advice. I guess you'd have to say that's altered. Okay, let me expand this. Examples of content creators don't have to disclose. Creators don't need to disclose unrealistic content that is altered or synthetic, or edits to realistic content that are minor. Minor edits are ones that are primarily aesthetic and don't alter the content in any way that could mislead the viewer about what actually happened. So, well, we'll read their descriptions, and I have my own thoughts on this. Examples of content edits and video assistance to creators that don't need disclosure. A non-realistic is someone riding a unicorn through a fantastical world. He says you don't have to disclose that because it's just totally make believe, I guess. A green screen used to depict someone floating in space. So if I ran a green screen and changed my appearance or where I was filming. I guess with as long as it's not realistic, because I wouldn't be in space without a spacesuit filming. I'd have to disclose that. A minor would be color adjustments or light filters. Now, this to me, I mean, obviously we don't have to disclose this, but this is getting into a point of the point of videography is to properly light a scene and do color adjustment to give your mood and give the depiction of it. So do you just say, I mean, I know they're not asking for it here, but at what point is it considered minor or major? That's what I'd like to know. I can use a light filter on my light here, or are they talking about digitally in the environment? Special effect filters like adding background blur or vintage effects are minor also. So um, a minor, but what if a major one? Like, what if you shot a scene at 400 millimeter at f4 or f2.8, and your background is totally mushed? Um, is that a minor adjustment, or is that considered a major? Like the use of minor really bothered me. Like, what are they considering a minor on that? If you optically generated something that was real optically through the technology through a lens, is that still considered minor? Like adding background blur or vintage effects. So, I mean, it's saying special effects filters, but who's to say that I use a filter or not if it's done right? Production assistance, like using generative AI tools to create or improve a video, outline, script, thumbnail, title, and infographic. So, if you have a script, one of those script programs or anything like that, or an AI tool that just makes your thumbnail, they said they're not worried about that. Again, it's called minor, though. That's a very loosely worded term. I just don't like. Caption creation, video sharpening, upscaling, repair, and voice and audio repair. So basically, anything I do in my YouTube edit where I try to clean up my voice, I try to clean up the audio of the room to just quieten it up. They're saying you don't have to do with that. And idea generation. I have no idea what they mean by idea generation, or what they mean. So keep in mind the above list is not exhaustive. It means there could be a lot more to it. Okay, well, let's get into the examples of content creators need to disclose. Um, to help viewers, to keep viewers informed about the content they're viewing, we require creators to disclose content that is altered or synthetic when it appears realistic or meaningful. Examples of content, edits, or video assistance that creators need to disclose. Synthetically generating music, including music generated using creators' music. So if the music isn't real, you have to tell them that it's got altered content. Voice cloning someone else's voice to use for voiceover. So I can't have a well-known actor voice over my video if I generated it. Synthetically generating extra footage of a real place, like a video of a surfer in Maui for a promotional travel video. This one I didn't quite read this one. When I first read this, whether or not it was read correctly. Synthetically generating extra footage of a real place, like a video of a surfer in Maui for promotional travel video. Are they just talking about like a simple mask where you put a surfer on a wave in Maui and that guy wasn't really there? I'm guessing that's what maybe they're talking about. What's weird is the generating extra footage. Like, I guess you're creating that footage from two clips to make an extra scene. That would be, I guess, where that falls in place. Synthetically generating a realistic video of a match between two real professionals tennis players. So we can't have an AI generate a game between two players and generate that without saying it's fake. Those are the kind of things I'm fine with. Making it appear as if someone gave advice that they did not actually give. That's fine. Digitally altering audio to make it sound as if a popular singer missed a note in their live performance. So again, there's a very fine tooth example of this minor versus synthetic. So digitally altering the audio to make it sound as if a popular singer missed a note in their live performance. So that's a very specific, thing to happen. So if you digitally altered somebody's voice to say a different word than when they actually said, yes, that would be altered content. Making a musician sound like they didn't know what they were doing or miss a note in a live performance, I can see this one playing in there. But who's to say if we're the creator creating that content and we do that to ourselves? Is that considered a minor or is that a major? I mean, where's that line drawn? Let's see. Showing a realistic Showing a realistic depiction of a tornado or other weather event moving toward a real city that didn't actually happen. Okay, so I can't go out and film a tornado that was headed toward Dallas unless it was real. Make it appear as if a hospital workers turned away sick and wounded patients. And like I said, these are examples of like these scenarios that, in these scenes. Like they wouldn't just say only on this. That's why it says this list is not exhaustive. Um, I guess another term would be somebody going to ask the police for help and them ignoring them or walking away would be a similar situation, maybe. Depicting a public figure stealing something that did not steal or admitting to stealing something when they did not make that admission. And making it look like a real person has been arrested or imprisoned. Keep in mind the above list is not exhaustive. So I think it's got. I mean, it's in its basic form. It makes a lot of sense as far as what is allowed and what isn't, and they're giving you a pretty decent breakdown there of basically saying if you're going to mislead the truth at all, you need to represent as an altered content. If you're going to, and that could be also visually. It can't be just audio. It's anything visually that people are seeing. You can't do that. So my question for the audience is if get a piece of paper here. If you have a scene of a canyon, okay, and you're filming this scene of a well, here's me trying to draw. This is never good. Okay. I'm gonna get this up to you here. Okay, Okay, so you have a scene of a. Maybe you guys can see this. There's my really poor animation of a canyon, and the reason why I'm bringing this up. This is representing my what my dad had in his video, and we put what looks like a fossilized dinosaur in the rock, and we have it imposed into the rock. It's tracking with the rock, and it's just there's a goof. Does that constitute a altered image that would have to be represented? So, going through this description, I want to find if we have that in there. Um, so there was something about it showing a realistic place. Uh, uh, this, I guess, would fall in line with synthetically generating extra footage of a real place, like a video of a surfer in Maui for a promotional travel video. Basically, saying that if you superimpose what looks like a dinosaur fossil in the rock face of a canyon, and of a popular place nonetheless, do you have to disclose it as altered content? I mean, I I guess you would have to say so. You would have to disclose it as yes, it has altered content because of that fact, because you are misleading the truth in the fact that the dinosaur really isn't there. And if somebody were to see it and think, wow, there's a dinosaur fossil in that rock face, I want to go there and see it. I guess that's where you got to ask yourself the questions of what you're doing in the video, whether or not it's misleading or misrepresenting the truth versus something that's actually there or not. And while it seems benign and not stupid for the better part of the lack of a better word, that we'd have to do that. Essentially, that's where it's at. Is you'd have to disclose that yes, it has altered footage in it because that's a real place, and it's a very big difference. Even though it's very subtle, and half the viewers that saw it would probably never have seen it. Those are the things that we have to watch out for. Um, and then basically, this tells you that if you're going to disclose it, this is how you do it during your video setup and your details, and that's where that's at. So I'm going to leave it there. So yeah, there's a lot of different things there that we have to think of as creators, that whether or not what we're putting in our videos is real or not. Now, if we're filming on location in a real place and we put a prop in it for what we're doing, is that considered altered content? These are the questions that I'm bringing up because I have you know I hauled a bench a mile into a canyon to sit on to film a video. If somebody ever wanted to go back to that area, if I ever disclosed where it was at, would would that be considered, oh, I thought this place had a bench and I thought I could sit down? Or is it altered content? Like, where's that line drawn? Where, you know, it doesn't say anything about what we do to a scene in reality. It just talks about altered content. And I think the basis of this whole thing is talking about AI generation stuff. Like AI creating a misrepresented truth that could be pristrewn as truth. That's, I think, the main key point takeaway of this altered content. But I thought it was interesting. Thought I'd talk about it tonight. Hoping to get some thoughts out there on it. So if you're coming in later and joining, please let me know what your thoughts were on it and what you think of that content. Um, and then the next thing, of course, I was going to talk about is the national parks. You're not allowed to film in national parks. Now we went down and did a ride in a pretty popular national park here in Texas, and we filmed a good chunk of our ride, on helmet cams and a little bit off the photography cameras. Nothing serious. And of course, the video got flagged for being in a national park, and you could face up to a fine of $1,000 if that video ever went monetized. Now, it's if you're making money off of it and it's being commercially used. So, if your channel's not monetized and you put that video up and you don't have a filming permit from that national park, you're potentially on the hook for this fine. So, and I don't know, this is all kind of old news, but I just figured I'd reiterate it here if you're here viewing right now. If you want to use your photography camera in a national park, you technically need a permit unless you're only keeping the photos for yourself. And a lot of park rangers may say it's okay to film or do something there, no problem. But that could be against the actual law, and you could still be coming after later after the fact. Even if you had them on camera saying it's okay, that's still not a verbal admission of acceptance or of what's the term I'm looking for? Uh, a verbal permission is not enough. You have to have a written permit. And here's the downside to this whole thing as photographers is we're already being, discriminized just by where we go to shoot our cameras. Now, I guarantee if somebody went in with an iPhone and shot a cinematic video in a national park, nobody would say anything about it. Now, when they go back to use the footage, that's where they're going to have a problem. So it's not so much about what you're going to do with it, it's about the actual event of doing it in the park is how they're portraying it. But likewise, if and the way it's definitely different for photography versus videography. There's very a distinction made at the national park level of the two events. If you're a videographer, you need a permit to film, period. And that permit can be, I think it was $50 a day at the minimum for just one to five people and some basic camera equipment. But as more and more people go up, the permit price goes up. But that's just the permit price. They can expect you to have your own insurance policies in place or bonds to do restoration from your project. Crew in of 50 people, this would be like a major movie production in my mind, where you have actors and you have the whole set. That's where the permits were originally designed and be used for. But as more and more people started YouTubing and more people started producing content on YouTube for that function and they were becoming monetized, they realized that hey, this is technically commercial use and you have to have a permit to do it. Uh, so yeah, I mean it's one of those deals. It's like, well, I'm not going to ever make money on YouTube from this video. If I did, it's pennies on the dollar for what the permit costs. So where is it fair to utilize and punish the people they're filming and enjoying the parks in their respective nature and in respective how they want to enjoy it to discriminate against us as photographers or videographers to say we have to pay. It's going to be a tale that never ends, but it's something you guys should be aware of that's out there, and it's something we got to watch out for. But um, but yeah, I mean, if you're a photographer going into these parks, you have a lot more permissions and lax things. They're more concerned with because, and this is another thing. It's like if you took a picture of, say, Half Dome in Yosemite, and you sold those prints and were making money off of it, that's fine as long as you had the permit to take the photograph. They don't care about what you do with the photo afterward. They only care about the event of taking the photograph, and that's what you need the permit for. Now, for photography, it's $0 a day for a 1 to 2 man crew with a tripod. So if you have a camera and a tripod, you take a picture of Half Dome, you're basically set, but you still need a permit. They have it isolated as a permit costs $0 for that day. So they say you need to provide like a 2 week notice in writing to the national park you want to visit to get that permit. And and like I said, that's for photography. If you're doing video, it's a $50 a day start, and you're going to have the permit number in your disclosed video. Now, $50 a day, that's not a bad deal to me to have to pay that to get into and shoot the video. If I actually wanted to make content about a specific thing in that park. That being said, Is it right or wrong? I don't know. I mean, my highest paying video has made that much on YouTube over the time of 4 or 5 years, but since I've been monetized. But are the majority of my videos ever going to see that kind of dollar amount? No. I mean, they're on the dollars underneath $10 still is what I see in my monetization versus something that actually has some sort of virality to it. So even if you have 10,000 subscribers, 20 or 30,000 subscribers, you may only get 2 to 3,000 views on something, and you're not going to make very much money from that. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, definitely wanted to open conversation about this one, but it looks like we're pretty quiet tonight, so I'm not going to worry about it. Um, let's see. I think with that being said, I don't really have anything else going on. And let me go ahead and check one more thing. All right. Well, I think with that, guys, I'm going to call it a night right there. That was my topics, and we touch on those again next week, but we'll just see if we get some crowd in. So this live thing's really hit and miss. I was really late coming on tonight. I didn't get the notification out early. Seemed like StreamYard had issues, so it is what it is with that. So, all right. With that, guys, I appreciate you coming in and watching this video. If you're coming in after the fact, looks like we didn't really get any live viewership tonight. That's all right. That's the way it goes. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you later, guys. Have a good evening.